So when I was diagnosed, my oncologist had basically said to me that I have got advanced incurable stage 4 squamous cell kidney cancer. He said it's exceptionally rare. What they do know about it isn't great. It's a very aggressive cancer. Luckily mine's slow growing, but in his words, he said it's not a nice cancer to have. I'm Kirsty Nielsen and I am only 37 years old. I am on my own with my 2 little boys who are 8 and nearly 7. And I found out unofficially last October in 2023 and officially in January this year, in 2024, that I have, not only do I have kidney cancer, but I've got an extremely rare form of kidney cancer. I've actually had symptoms for a couple of years. I didn't know they were symptoms until it all came about because I fell off my bicycle in May last year and I kept getting this really constant pain in my left side. So I went to the accident and emergency and they was like, we're going to do a CT scan. And they was like, oh, you've got some fluid on your left kidney. But they actually found the fluid on my left kidney in 2021 when they was doing a checkup for my endometriosis. And the sonographer was like, you shouldn't have fluid on your kidney. It needs investigating. It never was. And then last year when they saw it again, they was like, oh, this has been going on for a while. It's nothing to worry about because you've had it for so long. But in the last 2 years, since 2021 up to last year, there was little things like whenever I went to the doctors and had a urine sample done, there was like this traces of blood in your urine, but they kept putting it down to my endometriosis and other things. I would have backache. I lost about 1.5 stone within a couple of months. And again, it was put down to anxiety and other little things like that. Because now when I look back, I think, oh, there was quite a lot actually indicating what it was. But this constant flank pain, it's just here all the time in my ribs. I had that for 3 months. So when I first went in June time for the scan, and then I kept going back to the GP, I was like, look, this pain's not going away. They was like, oh, it's probably just because you fell off your bike. You've probably got bruised ribs. In October, I went to see the GP and I was like, look, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm constantly tired. I was picking up germs right, left and centre. And she was like, you've still got traces of blood in your urine sample when they do the urology test. So she was like, I'm going to send you for an urgent ultrasound. And that came back it was 3 times more fluid from the CT scan in May to the one in October. So there was like, we think you've got suspected kidney cancer. We need to send you to a urologist. I had a phone call with my urologist and he was like, because of your age, it's unlikely it's cancer. I can't see a lot on the ultrasound, so let's do a CT scan with some contrast. And on the 1st of December, that's when he said, I'm really sorry, it's definitely cancer and we can't operate because it spreads to some of your lymph nodes. One of my biggest concerns was, and one of the reasons that I wanted to start my story was because when they first told me that it was suspected cancer and when he gave me the diagnosis that it definitely was, I noticed this lump that was growing in my neck. And I was like, this needs checking. It turns out that is cancer as well. That's one of the lymph nodes that it spread into. And I kept thinking to myself, if I hadn't been pushing this, like if I hadn't kept going back and listening to my body and thinking something's wrong, at what point would it have got to before they actually found anything? And one of the other things is I'm allergic to codeine, so I'm really funny about taking painkillers. So a lot of people potentially in my situation would have just took some painkillers and thought, oh, I'll take some painkillers for my side, it'll go away. That have probably been like, oh, it's just a gland, it'll probably go down. And that's kind of why I wanted to tell people, because I want people to listen to the body and as early as possible go, yeah, don't think I'm wasting the doctor's time. Like, listen to your body because it will tell you something's wrong. And like the scariest thing for me that dawned on me is I'm quite lucky at the moment. Mine's contained to my kidney and it's only in one of my lymph nodes in my stomach and that one. But I just think if I hadn't have kept pushing, like how bad would it have got? When he first told me, I kind of went into a little bit of shock. And the first thing that I did was I just went straight into fight mode, like with, right, I need to get the children sorted. I need to get their guardianship sorted. I need to get a will sorted. Just get all my little ducks in a row for them. And that's where my mind kind of went and my motivation kind of went at the very beginning. But then I kind of prolonged how I was really feeling about it. Because I was more worried and concerned about how they was going to deal with it and how my family was feeling. And then, but I think deep down, because they'd already kind of suspected it last year and I'd already been given the heads up that, yeah, we know it is cancer, but just not how bad, I'd kind of already accepted it almost. And me and my brothers, we lost my mum 7 years ago to advanced ovarian cancer. So I'd kind of just gone into this moment of thinking, right, this is actually happening, but it's a really surreal moment. It didn't sink in for me until I started chemotherapy. It was almost like an out of body experience, like it was happening and I knew it was happening. And then I'd have these shock factors, like walking onto the day unit and being like, oh my God, I've got to have chemotherapy because I'm actually quite poorly. And I have days where I feel absolutely fine and I have to remind myself and think, oh my God, no, actually, yeah, and my body's actually quite ill. One of the worst ones for me was when my hair started to come out. I didn't think I'd be that bothered. I didn't think I'd be that upset. And then it started coming away and it's that instant slap in the face of being like, yeah, this is because you've got cancer. This is because you're having chemotherapy. So my chemotherapy it was called Carbo, and I had 5 cycles of 3. So I'd have one Monday, I would have 7 hours of chemotherapy. The following Monday, I would have half an hour of chemotherapy. And then the Monday after that, on the 3rd week, would be my day off. And then I'd start again. Every Friday, I had to have bloods to make sure that my body was strong enough, because my 7-hour chemotherapy, what they gave me, it's one of the strongest chemotherapies they've got. It attacks your heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, of all things. And it does make you exceptionally poorly. So they had to constantly do my bloods to make sure that my body was well enough. So alongside of my chemotherapy, my cousin put me in touch with a homeopathy lady so that I had natural remedies, and she was giving me supplements to keep my body strong. I was having smoothies so that I could keep my immune system building ones. And in all honesty, without that, I don't think I'd have done as well as I did, because each chemo you have, it just tops it up in your body and it builds up over time. And those last 2 that I had was just absolutely horrific. I couldn't get out of bed for 10 days. My side effects with my Carbo chemotherapy, it's fatigue, nausea or vomiting. One extreme to the other would be the constipation or diarrhea. There was a big thing that my oncologist had said that after having my chemotherapy, if I was actually physically sick more than once, then I would have to get admitted to hospital to make sure that I didn't have any signs of infection. My other side effects, because everyone's different with each one, but I would get ringing in both my ears. I've got temporary deafness in that one. They did say it should come back. My hair has thinned massively, which was one of the side effects. Also, I struggled really bad with my skin and my nerve endings. So from like here upwards, all my nerve endings. So even now, sometimes to touch like that, it really hurts. So my last 3 cycles, I really struggled because I couldn't even have my children cuddling me. That was how much my skin hurt. It felt like it was on fire. The sickness, each cycle I had, it started off being just a couple of days of feeling nauseous. And then each week it would gradually get more and more. And the last one I had, it was 10 days of being between physically sick and nauseous. And obviously when you're trying to take tablets and things like that, it's a bit much. The tiredness is, I've never experienced anything like it. It's not just being like, oh, I'm sleepy, I've had a bad night. It's like your body physically shuts down. Like your brain's still active and it's going, and it's like, I want you to get up, I want you to do this, but your body's just like, no, I'm not moving. And then emotionally, it's so frustrating how you get in this like little battle with yourself to be like, come on, I want to get up and do this. And your body's just like, no. At the very beginning, when the my oncologist gave me a diagnosis, he'd mentioned then about trials, because they did talk about potentially doing a biopsy on the one in my neck. They said if it was logistically possible, but I'd said I didn't want them to touch it if there was any risk of disturbing it and making it spread, basically. So we decided to leave that alone. And the trials themselves, it's really hard with trials because, like my oncologist said, he's dealing with not only a very rare cancer, but with a trial, it's the same as everything. It's a gamble whether it's going to work or not. Like, it might work for one, it's not going to work for everybody. And I'm always like a glass half full kind of person. In my situation, I think I ain't got anything to lose, so we may as well give it a go. I'm one of them. I'm like, I'll try anything because it can't get any worse than what he's told me. So that was where my thought went straight away. I was like, well, I'll try anything. My only worry about all of it was Leeds and Manchester are quite close to me. They're like a couple of hours drive. London, I would go if the trials was there. I would honestly struggle. My oncologist did say to me, especially for the first few weeks, I would have to be there for quite a while. And it's being away from the boys that I would struggle with. But my other thing is, it's a really, really hard worry of mine would be if I went all the way to London and then it not work, would I be able to come back home? Like, would I be well enough to come back home? And that's something that I really struggle with, because I want to try everything or try anything to see if it works. But at the same time, I don't want to miss out on whatever time I am allowed to have with my boys. So it's kind of a thin balance at the minute. So parenting with cancer is just, parenting's not easy anyway, but with this, it's just, it's another reason really, to be honest, why I started my story, because so obviously I'm on my own with the boys, and I've always been very honest with them since they was babies. So I wanted them to, well, they had to know about my diagnosis. There was no other way around it, bless them. They did have to know. But it's not been easy at all, because as grown-ups, we're struggling to deal with the uncertainty of my diagnosis. And I'm just like, they're 6 and 8. I can't even begin to imagine what it's like for them. And I just try, and the only one question I found I haven't been able to answer for them was the how long. So my eldest, he always asks me and says, how long have we got you for, mummy? That's the one time I can't answer him. So when they first told me that it was suspected, like, everything changed for me then. Like, stopped drinking alcohol, like, everything changed. It was one of those moments where I was like, oh, this isn't good. Like, this is bad. So it was like an overhaul of a lifestyle change. And then it was like this mentality where I just kind of, I think it brings me back a bit to when my mum got poorly. When my mum got ill, the one thing she ever wanted to do was go see Elvis Presley's house in Graceland. She was a massive Elvis Presley fan. It's the one thing she wanted to do. And when she was diagnosed, she had stage 4 ovarian cancer. And she was like, let me beat this, let me start treatment, then I'll go. And she never got a chance to go. And ever since then, I've always kind of lived like, no, if I want to do something, then we need to do it, because you're not guaranteed that you're going to be able to do it. And then I only half lived by it. And then when I got my own diagnosis, I was just like, no, yeah, my house it will be dirty next week. I can clean that another day. I can, let's go out. Let's, just all those little things that I used to stress around so much and be like, oh, it's money and where everything. I just got to a point where I've always had the boys in quite a strict routine for school, where I've been like, oh no, you need your sleep, go to bed. And whereas now I'm like, oh no, let's stay up late. Let's watch the sunset. And because we just don't know. We just don't know how long we've got. And I just think they're the memories that they're going to remember. If I could just say anything, it'd just be, it's always that one more. So that's like the one thing at the moment, especially with the boys. It's we always have one more of everything now. So like one more bedtime kiss, one more story, one more cuddle. Just that little bit more, because like I said to them, I said, we don't know if we've got tomorrow. So if they say to me, Mummy, can we stay up another 5 minutes? Yeah, let's have 5 more minutes. Let's just have let's get all just those little things. And I think that's the important thing at the moment is that I've learned is don't take other people for granted as well. Because I think over time you take family and friends and people you love and you take everything for granted. And then when something like this happens, you sit and you look and you think, oh, if we'd have had more time together, we could have done this. So yeah, take that trip and stop worrying so much. Like, this is the first time in my life where I'm not worried about losing weight. I'm more likely wanting to keep it on instead of losing it. So yeah, eat that cake and dance in the rain, and don't be worried about being late for work, because they'll replace you in a heartbeat tomorrow. So don't stay late at work to try and earn more things there when you've got family at home. Go be with them, because at the end of the day, that's what matters.